Even kijken. Hoor je me nu? Hey, ik zie hier wel feedback. Hey, je niet?
Ik hoor je niet.
Nee, je hoort me niet?
Anders zou jij het ook niet horen. Ik heb een vraag van aanstaan. Ja.
Ja? Ja? Je hoor je me? Er zit een hele dikke vertraging.
Ja.
En een scherm erbij delen. Wow.
Ik hoor mijn eigen slecht.
Okay.
Hallo.
Yes.
Hallo.
Hey, iedereen is er. Mooi. Er zit een hele dikke vertraging in, dus ik kan niet zo heel snel reageren op alles wat jullie zeggen. Ik stel voor dat een van jullie een beetje de chat in de gaten houdt ook. En als er vragen zijn, die aan mij doorspelen. Ja? Oké. Alright.
Nog geen Slack groepscall. Of Skype, conference. Slack conference call. Dat zelf is. Wel lekker. Dat is maar hier zijn. Ja, het is niet handig dat je het gewoon kiest.
Ja, hier zijn we allemaal een beetje slap hoor, vind ik.
Wat niet?
Alle mensen die binnen een actieradius van 5 kilometer wonen, zijn wel slap.
10.
Of 10, oké, 10.
Doe maar gewoon inclusief Noord.
Gewoon als je in Nederland...
Ik ben er wel, hè jongens.
Ja, dus Wouter is er, Uniek is er, Rick is er.
Sil en Peter.
Sil, Peter.
Peter woont niet eens in Amsterdam.
Peter woont niet eens in Amsterdam, jongens. Daar kun je allemaal een voorbeeld aan nemen. Dit gaat niet alleen maar slap geouwe hoer worden. Ik ga... Even kijken, ik ga alles opzetten.
Ja, dat is wel.
Oh, en ik moet ook even de beamer aanzetten voor jullie, want ik heb hier ook een publiek. Dat is wel leuk, dubbel publiek.
English.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. All right. So the lecture, of course, is going to be in English. I forgot. Everybody here is done. So it's great to have two audiences. What we're going to do is going to be a recap lecture about DigitalOcean. And I'm going to add a little something to it. So it's not only going to be a recap lecture, it's also going to be about how you're going to set up a database on a server. And so that part is a little bit new. I realize that not everybody is going to be able to follow through live. So first I want to finish the deployment, and then you can try to set it up later. Try to follow it. If you're not able to keep up, that's fine. Then try to follow the steps, and we'll walk you through it later. So I've written down the steps here in Sublime. So what are we going to do? Everybody watching the chat on Slack? Yeah, everybody's fine, or? Okay. All right. So. Yeah. All right. So first we're going to create a droplet that is DigitalOcean speak for a virtual private server at DigitalOcean. And we can select a pre-installed Node.js version. Then we're going to connect to the server using SSH. And depending on how you set it up, you're going to connect to it either by a password or a public-private key. Hopefully you still remember what a public and private key are from GitHub. So DigitalOcean works in the same way. You can set up a public and private key. If you don't do it, it's a little bit easier to set it up. It's harder to connect later. If you do not set up a public and private key, they will send you a password by email, a very long password. On that server, we're going to create a new directory. You're going to create it with makedir, name of project. Since this is a Linux virtual private server, it uses bash, so you can use all the commands you're used to. but it is Linux. And then we're going to go into the directory and do git initialize. And then we're going to pull in the project from Git, as you would do on your own machine. But now we're doing it on a remote machine, on a virtual private host of DigitalOcean. Then we're going to install all the packages we need for our project with npm install. npm install checks what is listed in the package.json file and installs everything with a single command. And then we're going to install PostgreSQL. This is not working. The link is working. So let's start. Let's create the droplet. So I've already 2 droplets. Droplets, again, is a name for virtual private server. A virtual private server gives you the feeling you have a real server. It's a real physical server. You have all the permissions you would have on a real server. But since real servers are really expensive, they give you a virtual one. And so it feels like a real server. You can interact with it like a real server, but you pay a very small amount. Right? Of course, you're not able to rent a machine of like 5,000–6,000 euros for only $5 a month. Right? That would be insane. So you click on create a droplet. Then DigitalOcean needs some time. You have this Sharky thing. And then you click on one-click apps. One-click apps. And you can select already a pre-installed software package. So we don't have to install it ourselves. If you click on Node.js, you have Linux Ubuntu with new Node.js pre-installed on it. Then you, well, take the cheapest option. You can also go really expensive so that I get all my royalties. Sir?
That's in the SQL. That's software. You don't have to install that.
Well, you're going to install that separately. That's this part. We have to install it ourselves. Install PostgreSQL.
Because I also see for the pre-install. So for my SQL standard, it's different than.
Yeah, do we? Where is that? Where do you see it?
Right. SQL. Yeah, the way we deal with it. Yeah, right. One of them.
Yeah, my SQL is something different as PostgreSQL. It's the same family. MySQL is the same family, so you can use most of your knowledge you have for PostgreSQL, but it's not really the same. Huh? It's a dialect of SQL, and this is also not Node. Okay. So install Node.js. And then here, okay, we're in Amsterdam, or at least in the Netherlands. And here we can select, here can we set our public-private key. It works the same as on GitHub. For now, I don't want to make this a lesson about setting up your private and public key. If you know how to do it, select it. Otherwise, you can connect to your server with the passport they sent you by mail. I'm going to select my public-private key. And I'm going to call this deployment recap demo. Create. So now this is created. We have to wait a while. Do you have any idea how many people are watching this? I'm curious. I'm just curious. Oh, all right. Okay, cool. So much more important right now. All right, we're still creating the virtual private server. It's quite fast. If you consider that it's installing a full operating system within like 1 minute, it's pretty impressive. Click on it, And now you see here IPv4. This is the IP address. We need that IP address to connect to the server with SSH. So you can do right-click and copy, but if you click on it, it's already been copied to your clipboard. Open up a terminal. Yeah, so we need the IP address of our virtual private server so that we can connect to it. And we need to know where that server is. And how do you know where a server is, or computers in general? IP addresses. So we need the IP address. And if you click on the server, it will show you the IP address right here. All right, I will give you like 1 or 2 minutes to catch up. Yeah, but you're paying money by the minute. And so you pay €5 a month for this. And if you stop after 1 hour, you pay 124 times 31 times $5, which is not a lot. All right, so shall we do the math? I think we have to wait on a few. So let's say you keep the server running for a full hour. Yeah, it's not, yeah. So 24 hours a day, 30 hours, 30 days, or 31 days a month. So 5 divided by 744. All right, you like almost pay a cent. Like, some real money over there.
Yeah.
Huh?
For 1 hour.
For 1 hour. Yeah. So it's not really expensive. You don't have to keep this project running like for a couple of years. But it's not a lot, and you can host multiple projects on one server.
You're not allowed to pause the droplets, like just pause it, don't.
Yeah, if you pause a droplet, that's not the same as destroying it, because when you pause it, it's like shutting it off, but they're still reserving rack space for you.
Yeah, so you have to pay.
Yeah, so the only way to not to pay is to destroy your droplet.
How many like simple websites do you think we can go on?
Like 15, 20, 15. And
€5 a month?
Yeah, and then of course you charge your clients like they are having their own server. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
At least that's what I do.
But let's say we want to make our own portfolio.
Yeah.
And we want to host all those websites.
Yeah, that's doable.
Give a better impression.
Yeah. That's totally doable. Like 15, 20. It's a little bit harder to set up. It's called virtual hosting, but
well, it's different. If you have multiple websites.
So you have virtual private host, and if you want to set up multiple websites on one server, it's called virtual host. So maybe that's confusion. So you have a server. It's called the virtual private host, and you can set up multiple hosts on that server. Well, maybe you can do a lesson about that, but it's technically it's possible. All right, so I'm going to try to connect to the server right now. SSH alt root. This server only has one username, and it's the root user. Copy the IP address. So now you get this. When you haven't set up your public private key, this is the moment where you have to enter the password. Since I have my public and private key set up, I think I just type yes and I'm connected. Right. And as you can see, this terminal is not the terminal of my own computer anymore. This is the terminal of a computer somewhere in the data center. And right now I have root access to the computer. So I can do anything I would do in my my own terminal.
maybe like what is
Yeah, so you have to type, right now I'm back again, as you can see, that's my own computer. You type SSH, secure shell. That's how you connect to the shell, to the terminal of other computers. Then you have to specify, okay, as what kind of user, as what kind of permissions. Well, root, saying I want to connect to a computer with root. Then add the server. So right now I'm saying start a secure shell session as a root user on this machine. And then type enter. Now I'm in. I'm in this computer.
When it tells you to change the password for the root, they're just saying change the password that they sent you.
Yeah. But really the best way for the to secure your server is by using public-private keys, because it's really easy to try to connect to secure shells. You have as many attempts as you like, so it's pretty easy for people to set up a script and just try all possibilities. There are some robots on the internet who try all kinds of passwords. That will not work for public-private keys, because all the possibilities of a private key, that is more than, I think there are atoms in the universe. So it's not really going to work. You need a supercomputer doing hard work for 5 years.
Can be established.
Yeah, so probably you have copy-paste your password wrong. Authentication host.
Your password to a private key after you.
I copied the IP from.
yeah, I got the same error.
Yeah, Rick has the same.
So nobody's able to connect to the server with a password they've sent you?
I have.
But when saying changing password for root, and you said something about that.
Yeah.
So
copy paste the the password again and then enter my own password.
So who's able to execute commands like do cd right here on the server? Are you able to do that? Let's. Are you able to do, like right now? I'm connected to the server. Are you able to do cd, ls? Do you have access to the computer? Yeah. All right. Then we're good to go. Then we can finish this lecture, if that is the case. And then later, I can do a recap lecture about like what public and private keys are again. But right now, that's not the main point. You're still able to set up your server. No, you're not. So you're able to connect to the server and execute commands on it, but you're not.
I still don't. When do you have to fill in your password? I am.
Are you sure you want to continue connecting?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Just have yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So as long as you are able to connect to the server, and as long as you have access to it, you can follow through. And then how you deal with this sort of inconvenience of copy pasting that very long password all the time, we're going to discuss later. Yeah. So right now I have access to the server. I want to create an extra folder. Make there programming. This creates a directory called programming. Don't shoot me. Oh no! Damn it! All right. I'm bleeding, so I have to finish this lecture within 5 minutes. Make there programming. You can see there's a new directory called programming. Into the directory. And my project I'm going to host is guess. Yeah, the ping-pong detector, because I've upgraded it.
For you to stop clearing the screen.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't clear anything important. Right. It's just this stuff. But maybe okay. I will Slack the command to connect to the server. Right. That's a command you need to know. There's this command SSH root at. But right now I'm already on the server. This is the only important command I've showed you so far. And I think you know how to make directories. Right. SSH space root at your IP address. I'll select that later in an overview. So CD programming, I'm going to make another directory called ping pong detect. Pong detect.
In program?
Yeah. Now I'm going to change the that directory. You can see I'm in programming in ping pong detect. Now I want to initialize Git. And it works on a server just as well as on our local machine. I want to Git add a remote. Which remote? That depends. My ping pong detect repository, of course, has a different name than your block application repository. If you don't have it ready right now, choose a different project. If you don't have your block application ready. Exception. GitHub. Ping Wong. Here. All right. It is easier if you use your HTTP address instead of this one. Because if you use this one, you have to set up your public and private keys again. So use the URL, not this one. So it's remote add, I guess, instead of add remote. Remote add. I'm not able to set my remote. Maybe within quotation marks. So it's giving me some hints. Get remote. Okay. You have to also call your remote a certain way. And convention is you call it origin. It could be any name. It could also be guinea pig. That's how you spell guinea pig, but even the conventions that you called you called origin. So right now, I'm setting a remote under this variable name. This is a variable storing this. Okay. So when I say get remote, V stands for verbose. It shows me the remote type set. Okay. So we're going to do get poo origin master. And see right now I have my project on my server. Okay, so I have my project already on my server.
Can you wait like 1 second?
Yeah.
Yes, I think you
Yeah, first git init. Then you want to add a remote. Git remote add name of the remote, which is conventionally called origin, space the value, so the address, and then you can do git pull origin master. And then all the files should be on your computer, on your server.
What is the get remote?
V is sort of listing all the remotes I have. Here. This is like, give me all the remotes I've set. I can also set a different remote.
What is the remote again?
I call it City Boy. Right? Git remote v. And right now I also have a remote called sillyboy. And I can do git pull sillyboy master.
Like, how would you define remote? Like
With
a
git app.
version?
Normally you have a single remote per project. That's why we haven't touched upon this.
Remote app.
Well, maybe you have a real production server and you have sort of a testing server. Sometimes you want to push two different
How does
repositories.
it work if this isn't the last version of my project, for example, and I want to make changes and deploy it again?
Just as on your normal, on your local machine. So let's say on your local machine, you've made changes to your project and you're pushing those changes to GitHub. And now you want to update the server as well. Git pull origin master and it updates it.
So you go into your server and then you just get
Exactly.
copies and stuff.
Yeah. It's the same. It works on your local machine.
Okay.
See, are you loving Git a little bit more now?
I love it.
Yeah, I knew that. So, as you can see, I have all these files of my project, but I have no node modules because I've put in my git ignore file, like I'm telling you guys. So I'm going to do npm install right now. Looks at package.json and sees what kind of dependencies there are. And dependencies are what kind of modules does this project need to function. And it looks all of those up and installs them if you write npm install. Right, so now it's installing all the modules. All right. If this would be a recap lecture only, we would be done right now. Now you could write node app.js. And instead of going to localhost port 3000, you could go to IP address of your server, 3000, and it would work just fine. But since it's not just a recap lecture, we also have to set up the database. So for simple static website, this will be enough. Now you could write node app.js, your server would run, but it would not run on your local machine anymore. It would run on a server somewhere in the database that's open to the whole internet.
So if you just write node app.js here and then close off terminal, and then it would keep on running, right?
Almost. If you would write node app.js and you would leave your window open, it would work. But if you would close the terminal, by default, all the programs close. So you need something called tmux. Tmux this. Tmux. Everything you write in here. So I would write node app.js. It would run, and it would be able to close my terminal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Erna is getting an error when she tries to install npm warn log application no description.
Is that a warning or an error?
Warning, I think she says she gets an error. Oh.
Warnings are not the same as errors. Warnings are you sure? But if your node modules is created and you don't see error, but only a warning, because the description is the name of your project. It's not really essential that you name your project for it to work. A unique question, maybe not everybody heard that, was if I type in node app.js and the project is running in my terminal, and I close my terminal, is my project still running? And the answer is no, because by default, if you close your terminal, all processes are killed. You need something called tmux. Called tmux. It's installed on, I think, on Ubuntu by default. You write tmux. It opens something that looks the same. And when you write node app.js here and close the terminal, it still runs. Yeah, so you can do that, but your database is not set up yet, so probably it will not work.
Error says it's not installing the packages. Boundary says unable to locate package npm.
Maybe you don't have to package.json file that you're trying to run.
Yeah, do you have a package.json? Do they have a package.json, Wouter, Erna? Yeah, we could try it. I have here. You have a simple HTML website.
Or should be running right now.
And you type node app.js. It should work already. When it depends on the database, we have to set up the database first. I can.
Do have package.json.
He does.
Yeah, and Erna has it.
Okay. Do they have? Can I type node? This version. Can I type this node dash version? Because maybe they have not installed the right server. Maybe if they have just Ubuntu and not Node.
It says you have to install with apt install.
Node.
It just says
Yeah. Then. So. Yeah, I think they have installed the wrong server. Are they able to type this and then I get a response like this?
And Rick asks, how do you exit tmux?
Control D. Let's see, Control D. Don't do it twice, because or on a Mac, probably Command D.
it says node not installed.
Yeah, so Erna, Wouter, you have installed the wrong server. You have installed Ubuntu, but not with the pre-installed node. So if you go here, create. I'm just showing this really brief because first I want to finish this lecture, and then, okay, so you've probably clicked on Ubuntu and installed, but you should go to One-Click Apps and click on Node.js. You can also try to follow the suggestions they are giving you and try to install Node.js with sudo apt-get install Node.js. All right, so continue with the lecture. So how do you set up the database? Well, let's see. Install Linux PostgreSQL. Yeah, I have researched this, but
You cannot leave tmux Control D.
what kind of machine is you using? Windows. Windows. Control D is working. Control C is it working?
Yeah, but then
All right. You can also Google it. Exit tmux terminal Windows, but Control D or Control C should work. Or if you're not able to find it, exit program terminal bash Windows.
Control C.
That worked?
Yeah.
All right. There you go. So we're going to install PostgreSQL because that is not pre-installed on with a one-click app. And you have to know a little bit about how the different ways to install software on a Linux. So install Linux PostgreSQL.
Oh, you have to download Linux?
No, that server is running on Linux.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, so you don't have to, but we are working with a Linux computer right now in our terminal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we don't have to download Linux. We just have to know how to interact with Linux. Yeah. So, and then you click on Ubuntu because what we have installed on our virtual private host is Ubuntu. Click on Ubuntu. And then here you have some, for you, cryptic looking steps to take. First, we have to add something to a list of a file, then an import repository, and then you have to run this command. But if you follow this really closely, you don't even have to understand what's going on. Or in brief, we are telling our virtual private host where to download PostgreSQL. This is this step. Then we're downloading it, and then we're installing it. But if you don't know what it, if you don't want to, you don't have to understand exactly how it works to follow these steps. So they are suggesting go to this file and then add this to it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to cd. And you see a file here, node source list. So do not use this, pgdg.list. Go to the directory where it should be in. /etc/add/source.list.d, that's a directory. Go inside the directory and copy this. The sudo nano. Nano is a terminal-based text editor. Node source list. So we're adding this file. We're changing this file. I will send you the link of this location as well. Sudo means do this as a root with the highest permissions. Nano is very simple, a terminal-based text editor. So this is where we're able to edit text right now because we're in Nano. This is the little program called Nano. And sudo nano, and then the name of the file we want to edit. And we want to add node source.list. Your Ubuntu version here. That was pretty stupid. Right, so right now it says very big, your Ubuntu version here. Of course, that is not what should be there, right? What should be there is your Ubuntu version. I don't have a real interest in finding it out. You can select it here, and then this link will change. Is that clear? So you go back to the PostgreSQL website and you select 16.04, and then this will change, and this will be good enough.
Should we choose the middle one?
Oh.
What's the difference?
There are different versions, and I just happen to know we have 16.04. It's like, are you using Windows 7 or 10? It's like, are you using Ubuntu 14, 16, or 17? No, I think so. Messed up a little bit. All right, so right now this should be the result of this file.
So when we type sudo nano node source.list.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get these 2 lines of text, and then you add this line to it. Yeah. Sort of surprised that it goes so well with the live streaming. So I give it a try, but yeah. And they're all still there?
Nope.
No?
Oh, they're leaving.
Oh, really? Oh, shit. What should I do to get my viewers back? How many are still there?
There were 9.
They were 11, now they're 6.
Really? Right. We're taking notes of you guys. You guys who left. I would be curious why they're leaving, because they're not able to keep up. Could you ask them then?
Well, yeah.
Can you maybe ask in Slack why the others left?
Sudo nano. Why did you guys leave?
Why? Is it me? No, because if it's the pace, like I can do something about it.
Still here, but not keeping up.
Not keeping up.
That's your scene.
So maybe you can repeat from what to do after.
From scratch, just create
Maar I don't need snel. I just was watching.
Yeah, but sometimes there's an error.
Yeah, if you have an error and then you need to, yeah, for 5 minutes. So who's stuck where?
Well,
I'm now out of the error.
I'm at this page now.
Yeah?
Oh, wait, I need to edit that.
And the people on the live stream?
installing of packages didn't work. That's what Aaron says. Many issues you've seen.
All right, so when you're not able to install the packages, it's still because you haven't installed the right server. You should install not directly Ubuntu 16.04. You should go to one-click apps and then select Node.js. Otherwise, you have to install Node.js yourself. Say, Linux, install, terminal, Node.js. We have Debian. So Aaron, have you seen this? Follow these steps.
Oh, Aaron says she selected Node.js.
Okay, so right now see if she's installing the server. Okay.
jullie wel even laten weten dat hij gewoon goed bezig is.
Wil je high five?
All right. I will write down all the steps again, like in a text file. Yeah. So I've done this. Install PostgreSQL. What this means is go to change directory to, oh, where are we in? We're in here. This is the directory. Sudo nano, and then how's that file called? But no source list. And then add this to it. And in case you haven't noticed, you don't copy paste in the terminal as you would normally. But I think you know that by now. Ctrl-Shift-V or just using your mouse. To it. And then exit, and at the bottom of your screen of Nano, it will give you all the main commands you need to know. But you exit by Ctrl-X. And then you have to say, yes, I want to save this. All right, what is the following instruction is copy and pasting this in your terminal. You don't need to know what it all does, or what it does, it downloads PostgreSQL. Yeah.
Rod is asking if it's possible to replay the stream.
Replay the stream. So this sounds like Git.
It's not recording, right? It's a live stream.
Yeah.
So it's not possible.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's no. But you can be here again tomorrow and ask me. Yeah. And I will post all the different steps in the text file. I'm not really a big fan of recording the videos, because then you run into the risk you're watching all those videos again and again. Most of the times, it's just about following the steps and a little bit of troubleshooting yourself. All right, so we did that. Now we're doing this. Now we're installing this. So first we have told the computer where to download PostgreSQL. Then we have downloaded it, and now we're installing it. Yes, it's installing everything. We have to wait a while. I mean, I'm adding this to the.
You can paste that second bit underneath.
Yeah, so from this we had to do ourselves. We had to add that file ourselves.
Yeah.
This is just copy pasting and hitting enter. And this is the same, just copy pasting in the terminal. No, not in Nano, in the terminal. These are terminal commands.
Okay.
Yeah. So don't add this in a text file. Only this line should be in the text file. These are commands. These are commands as well.
So you just get out of that and save.
Yeah. And if you're a little bit lost in Nano, all the main commands are in the bottom of the screen. It's not like Vim. Like Vim is impossible. Nano is a little bit more user-friendly. So now we installed PostgreSQL.
The second piece of code, copy paste where in Linux command line.
Yeah. But it is installed. Yeah. So this is not a command. This is the line of text you have to add in the text file. These two are commands. You just have to copy paste them in the terminal. So not in Nano. You have to exit Nano first, and then copy paste them in the terminal. Hit enter. Right? But in this order: first this, then that. Then it should install something, and then it should give you just some kind of response, all this kind of system information about the progress. We did here. When you install Postgres, a new user is created called Postgres. By saying sudo su, you are switching to that user. And you can type PSQL. Now we are in Postgres. So this is, if you're not using, some of you have set it up this way on your Mac already. Some of you are always using SQL shell. So type sudo su Postgres PSQL. And right now, this looks like your everyday SQL shell. And you can execute all the same commands you would normally do in SQL shell. So sudo su Postgres, going to write it down here as well. Sudo su Postgres, PSQL. Now you are PostgreSQL. And what do we do when we are PostgreSQL? We create a database. Your database will be called blog, and you have to create some tables, as you would do normally on your computer, on your local machine. So create database, and I'm going to call this ping pong detect. Right now, on my virtual private server, I have a PostgreSQL database called ping pong detect.
Unable to locate package Postgres. So does that mean that the Postgres is not in packages.json? Rick says, couldn't find any package by glob Postgres.
After what kind of command? What kind of command did you run?
install Postgres.
So app.get install the Postgres. What's here? App.get install this Postgres QL, and then this version number as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then probably he didn't hit enter right on this step. So try to. These actually are two commands. So you have to copy paste this, hit enter, make sure you will see some response, like brrr, and then do this part. Yeah. So he has to look at these steps. First add this, then do that, hit enter, make sure you get some kind of response. And then after that's finished, run this.
How does it like connect to like your ransomware?
What connects to
like, how does it know? Like how does it relate to the SQL that I have already have in my computer? Because now I have to type in my password, but it's not working.
Yeah. So what we're doing right now, on your local machine, you had your own SQL server run on the same machine as your local machine, and you set up a database with a password. Right now, we're setting up that same SQL server, but then on virtual private host.
Yeah, okay.
And you can create a different password for this server, but default is still Postgres. So right now, I've created this database, ping-pong detect, and my project, when I will try to connect to ping-pong detect, same name as the database on my local machine, it will still work because right now there is, again, a database called ping-pong detect, just as my local machine. So I'm making sort of a copy of the database on my local machine. Did he get a response after?
Because I get okay as response, but I still get the same.
Yeah, it gets okay, but did he ask him to run sudo apt-get update and then hit enter? You need to hit enter twice. So sudo apt-get update, press enter. I'm talking to Nick, to Rick, by the way. He has some issues.
And ask if he also has to make the tables again.
Yeah, you have to make the tables again.
Can you drop a database?
Let's create the tables again. With SQLize, later on, you create the tables in your code, so you don't have to do this. But you have to set up, or you can set up a sort kind of script that does this automatically. I think it's also possible with PG to create the tables in your code. When you're deploying, that's handier to do because right now you can make errors. Maybe you've changed something in these tables and they're not completely in sync.
A lot of questions.
A lot of questions. So I figured this step didn't go really okay. They're all about installing PostgreSQL, are they not?
Yeah, I know Randy asks, do we have to make a new database with the same names?
Yeah, it makes the most sense. Otherwise, you have to change the code of your project in order to be aligned with the database. It makes the most sense to keep the same name. But if you have been doing it the proper way, you have a separate environment file, .env, and over there is all the information you need to connect to the database. So if you did that and not hard-coded in information about your database throughout your code, you only need to edit one file, and this is your environment variable. And what kind of environment? Exactly this kind of environment. Your local host is one environment. Deployment server is another environment. This is why you keep your environment variables all separated, so you don't have to go look inside your code and change all these little details, all this information about what kind of machine it's running on. It's very time consuming. It's not neat, and it's really it's an awful thing to do. So also when you're referring to some kind of a GET request to a local machine, don't refer to environment variable. And so if you say redirect HTTP localhost yada yada yada, get out the localhost, say process.env.basic URL, and write the basic URL in your environment variable. But I realize it's a little bit that will grow on you, that kind of practice. Right now it's about setting up the database. So if you're not able to set up the database, you probably did something wrong in one of these steps. So first, I will post this in Slack. Sudo add this line to it. Then do this. And this in your terminal, not in Nano. Make sure to hit enter twice. Those are two separate commands. You see, sudo apt add and sudo apt get update. Those are two separate commands. This is why you have to hit enter twice for this step.
First you have to
It's
paste key add, enter, and then
hit enter again. And when you are not sure if you did that, run this command the second time. Sudo apt get update.
I think I just did once and it ran the whole thing.
Yeah, I've already installed it, so and then apt-get install. So I call this 1. Step 1. Step 2. Step 3. And step 4. Right. This will be on. I will add to this file because it's not really. We're not really done. We're almost done with the lecture. Yeah. Waiting. So yes, you do have to create the tables again. 5.
You're using SQLite?
Tables again. Or use SQLite. Not necessary with SQLite, but most of you are not necessary with SQLite. We're not using SQLite yet. But I'm pretty sure you can also create tables with PG. Or change your app in such a way PG is creating the table. Right? Optional fifth step. Optional step. at your end file. Oh. Last step. Your freaking server, run your freaking server. Your IP address, but 3000 route. File. All right. Deployment. Thanks.
Jürgen, what should you do again when sudo doesn't work? Bash doesn't recognize it as a command.
Bash doesn't recognize.
Machine says that Bash does not recognize it.
Then you're probably not in your server, because Linux, it's always a Linux command. And make sure there's nothing in front of it. There are no spaces. Maybe there's a space in front of sudo. You think you're running sudo, but you're running space sudo. Space sudo is not a command. Yeah. And make sure you're connected to the server and it's not your own terminal, because she is using Windows. And Windows is not a command. For instance, the DigitalOcean. All right. All right. Then we're basically done. If you, let's assume you've created the tables here. I set it up with Sequelize. So right now, I am, when you do Control D again, as you can see, I'm out of PostgreSQL. And I'm back into the folder again. I want to go back to, what do I call it? CD home. Oh, here's programming. The ping pong detect. I want to see in my config file, I also have some, my environment variables are in my config file. I want to take a closer look if everything is all right. All right, so let's see. Now, app.js. Models index. I haven't installed my models. So what went wrong now? I didn't include some files. I didn't put some files to Git. I don't really understand why, because it's so apparently I had modules in my git ignore file. You don't know what models is where I define my my tables with Sequelize. So my project runs with Sequelize, but your project doesn't. So you should not run into this. Sure. Let's do programming. So right now I'm going back to my on my local machine. Ping pong. Ping pong the tech web. Git add all. Git commit. Added models. Git push origin. But we're at the final step. We'll create a database. So try to set up the tables. Try to set up the tables and then try to run it. That might take some time. That also gives me some time to debug any of mine personal bugs, because you, from this point on, you probably will have your own bugs. So create the tables, then spin up your server, and then you should be able, from here, it works just as on your local machine. If you set up the database, you can create databases, you can add tables, and then only difference is when you run Node app.js now, it's not running on your local computer anymore. Now you can access it on the internet. Everybody can access your project. You have a real live blog application. So I'm giving you some time to create those tables, to ask questions. I will keep my eye on Slack. If you have some issues, I'll try to solve them then from a distance, and I will spin up my own project and try to do the same. All right, so feel free to ask questions on Slack.
Same problems there now. There's
Opponent,
a
sir?
password. And then, like, if I've had this problem before when I try to log in through the shell, it works. But if I wanna log in the Postgres through my own terminal.
Yeah.
doesn't work. So it's through the terminal of.
And what kind of password are you using? The password of your computer?
No, it's this password is the same because I can log in through the shell
Okay.
with the same password. But if I go through the same process, but not through the shell terminal, but through the own terminal.
Yeah.
Or through the server, it doesn't, I don't know, either connect to the database.
But do you, is it saying your password is wrong?
Yeah.
Can you try out Postgres as a password?
But okay, I can do that.
Huh?
I think I tried it. No.
All right. We'll be back. I'm going to help out Sil.
Don't worry, again, I had the same problem when I beginning. You don't call it, but then solved it by saying, okay, we don't shell.
You're already in Postgres. So here, you used to be root. Then you change to user Postgres. From that user account, you can go into SQL. First, you have to be user Postgres and not root. And if you use a Postgres, you can execute SQL. You were already PostgreSQL.
But I didn't know that's login, but it's, maybe I did log in with.
I think so, or by default doesn't have a password or it has Postgres.
So basically. Thanks.
No, 4 views left.
sudo static times sudo su. So you're the sudo su Postgres refers to the database, the name of the database. Because we've also
No, so you do sudo su
yeah,
Postgres, then you change to the user. And so when you, most classical example, Windows, it's a family computer. You have several accounts. You have like daddy, mommy, and then you can select an account. This works the same. You have a root account that has all privileges, has all permissions. The root can always do everything. And if you install PostgreSQL, it creates a separate account for you. So you have mommy, daddy, and Postgres. Right? First, you have to change it to the user of Postgres by doing sudo su Postgres. Now you've changed from mommy to Postgres.
yeah.
When you are logged in as that user,
Then Postgres is then the user.
it's then a user. Yeah. And when you're logged in as that user, then you can start PSQL. Then you only have to type PSQL, and you are exactly the same position as you are when you open up your SQL shell. It's exactly the same. From there on is business as usual.
Yes.
Right, thank you.
What's that? Mm-hmm.
Ja, ik weet niet wat dit anders maakt.
Ja.
Dat is goed. Ik moet even-
Je zit nu niet of wel in Postgres? Je wil in Postgres? Nee.
Mm-hmm.
Als je nu zeg maar je website nodig hebt.
Oh, sudo su Postgres. PSQL.
Okay.
SSH tools, when you add it, think you?
Yeah, it's my video.
SSH tools.
Ja.
It's pretty empty.
Snap je? Dit is iemand, dit is hoe het is.
Yeah.
Je hebt ook.
Maybe, are you gonna try and search me? You also slacking me for a Yeah.
De e-mail. En wel iets meer.
All right, guys, I'm going to have lunch. See you later, I guess. Yeah, it's 1 o'clock. Lunchtime. Ja, tuurlijk. Je bent toch een Hollander of niet? Kom nou, dat is geen jank, jongen.
Het is net code rood geworden.
Ja, code rood, wat betekent dat? Nou?
De Karen moet echt nog niks doen. Jezus. 3 centimeter doen code rood.
Misschien voor auto's op de snelweg, maar gewoon als je de fiets wil pakken.
Ja, maar de snelweg heeft een even sneeuw.
Ja.
Het is gewoon nat nu.
Ja.
Je moet niet 140 gaan.
Gladheid. Ja, ik ga misschien op mijn bek en misschien breek ik mijn pink. Nou en, ja. Ja, maar niet zo een beetje oppassen. Ik vind het wel leuk.
Yes, and that's what you want.
Met hier ook, hè, Schiphol is maar 1 landingbaan ook.
Ja, onze vriendin heeft mijn zus dit weekend.
Say that again, sorry?
Ze is met de bus gegaan.
Echt? Omdat ze moest werken. Dus dan ga je van wel.
If you're not using you're not using sessions, like you just go to practice.
Skip is geen optie.
Oh, you want to involve in
Dat zal het niet. Ja, het zal rustig zijn. Ja.
Heerlijk dit ding.
Oh, het is toch gevaarlijk, man. Jij zou een kaart op.
Ja.
Yeah.
Hoeveel is het goedkoper als jouw geld heeft uitgezet? Echt? Oh.
Euro.
Euro? Echt?
Euro!
Hoeveel betaal je voor een moslim?
15 euro.
55.
Maar dan kan je voor iedereen
They
pakken.
will add column before you put your references.
Wat? Ja. Wat?
Oh, dat is goed een keer.
Ja, ga je ook met jouw nummer. Dan maak ik geld aan jou.
Nee, dat vet. Kom maar. Komen we of gaan we blijven staan hier?
Ja.
Oké.
Jullie zo?
Ja, las ik je pakje.
Gaan we best doen hoor.
Okay, after, look at it. So this is your add message. If breakout session user, you're not using breakout session user, but. Okay. Oh, yeah. 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 It's just ending the response. No. It's just a response. So if you look at the Express documentation and look at the different response methods that you have, that's one of them. It's just basically saying like, oh, it's not working, so yeah, exactly. It's in there. It's basically like a rest.send. Instead of like a res.send, we're saying res.send status. No, promises are just like callbacks. So I think, like, for example, when you do climb.query and it returns a certain row of information that you need, like for example, a user, then you can pass that along to a .then, which is a promise, and you can then do something. Yes. No, a resolve, you can climb.query is. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so everywhere climb.query is built-in promises. So you can attach a .then to any climb.query. It makes it a lot easier. But let me have a look at your, sorry, it's a bit different, like multiple windows. Okay, let's look at your add message. So you've got two queries. One is select ID from users where username equals record username. And then, what? Yes, I'm just reading through it. And then you've got another query that says insert into test post, which is a table, title, body, user ID, values, title, record body, and a body. And then select ID from test users, where username equals record body username. Okay.
Ik kan ons ook gewoon even meelopen.
Oh, ja.
Zou het weten.
Dat zijn ze geleden.
Oh, lekker.
Is it that I guess my point?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you need to, hold on, let me double check. You need to say it references your test users and in parentheses, say that it references the ID of the test users, not just the whole table, because it needs to know exactly that it references a column on your test users table. Mhm. So then, yeah, then you just need to, hold on. Let me just mark you. Folder, take users, add column. User ID, integer, reference. Oh, okay, no. Post. Something like that. Yeah. Okay, so that's just specific to a column, then it knows it's exactly, that's where it's joining those two tables. Oh, it's really snowing a lot now. Go home soon. Can you look outside? It's crazy. No, I don't think you can be. Oh, you're adding a restraint. Okay, yeah. Okay. No. Oh, maybe you do need a space, sorry. Oh, and actually, you don't. Did it work? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
Only one left?
What's that?
Only one left?
I think they're all actually having lunch. Null value in column user ID violates not null constraint. Well, you don't need to have, I don't think anybody else had a not null constraint. I know, but, so, wait, let me see. Your form takes in a user ID or a username? Your form takes in a username. Like you can't post a message without writing a username, right? Or you can't post a message without being logged in. Yeah, so as long as you have those constraints in place, you're going to add a user ID whenever you make a post. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me just have a look at your code again. What is your code? So add message, insert into test post, add body. It's old, isn't it? Yeah, okay. Select, okay. Select ID from test users for username. You want to, yeah? Well, do you want to implement promises for this? I think it's easier this way. Okay. Okay, I'll walk you through it now. Okay, so you've got a client.query. Your first query is what you want. You've got select ID from test users for username equals rec.body.username. And yes. Right, so let's yeah. But this doesn't seem to be working, that query, does it? Right? Mm-hmm. Exactly, so that's why we're gonna use promises to first execute the first query, then use that value when we're inserting into the test post. Okay, so let's start a new line under your A query. And let's go client.query. And then your first query, which is user. And then, well, continue as you would with the normal client.query. So error results, our function. Hold on. And then handle your error. No, that should be fine. And then we'll do something with your result. Oh wait, hold on. Client.query. Yeah, and then hold on, where is that? And then dot then at the end of your client.query. Yeah. So you see why we put it there? Then open some brackets, some parentheses, sorry. And now we can name a variable that we're going to pass along to our promise. So let's call it res or something. Or yeah, call it something else. Well, that's getting, what we're getting is a row representing your user that you're looking for. Yeah, exactly. Actually, you need another set of parentheses there before your arrow function. Sorry. Okay. No, because client.query is built-in promises. They're made with promises, yeah. Okay, hold on. Yeah, it can be confusing when you're looking at how to make promises on the internet, when really it's confusing. so many thingies open. Okay, so you can see that client.query, you're executing the user query, and then you're handling your error. Yeah, and then you've got your row. Well, actually, let's make sure we're getting the right information. So just underneath console log, let's console log results. So give it a go. Well, the way we want to connect them is we want to wrap that entire client query into your .then. Because then you can use user match as your username value. So user match, well, okay, so first console log result, and then you can see how you can use yes, the user match represents a whole row, not just the ID. Okay. We'll get rid of it then. So your user match, Sasha, you there? You want to pass along, what did your error say again? Okay. Okay. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. The promise is you don't handle your errors before. You have to catch them at the end. So what I would do, get rid of all the stuff in there. No. So really all you have to do is leave, like, get rid of everything after the parentheses containing results, so get rid of the arrow function and those curly brackets. Yeah, and no, leave the, you still need a parentheses in between the dot then. Yeah, well, actually, you just need your query inside there. So you don't need to handle for errors straight away. So you just need your query. Yeah. There you go. Client.query, execute this, and then what your return is your user match. No, leave it, that's fine. Yeah. Now, let's return, put your dot then on a new line. Yeah, both of them. Yeah. Now, inside your user match parentheses, to the right of user match. Yeah, no, leave it on a new line. The dot then should always be on a new line so you can see where it's going. Just return it. You had it, yeah. Indent it maybe. And then inside your parentheses, you can write your promise. Yeah, there. So our function. No comma.
Ik denk het wel, jij niet hè? Donderdag. Fouten ook.
Misschien wel even, maar ik ga niet hard zuipen hoor.
Ja, dat zeg ik ook altijd.
Curly brackets.
Ik moet even staan. Ik moet ben zondag jarig.
Oh.
Dus ik ga zaterdag even maken.
And then now you can use user match.
Stil, hè?
No, you don't need to do anything else. You can just write it as a client query. So you can copy and
Dat is
paste
ook geld.
your other client.query. Yeah, but do you see how it works? Like then you can use user match in your second query, but you have to format it in the same way that you have this first one. I know. Yeah. Yeah. But you need to rewrite your A query. No, there are already promises, but let's say, okay, delete that or forget it, don't delete it, but let's go on to the next line under your dot then. Inside your dot then. Inside, next line, yeah, delete that. Yeah. Now start your next client query. I'm going to talk for a few more minutes and then I'm going to go home because I don't want to stay at school very, very much longer. Because no worries. Okay, client query, open parentheses. Now, you want to write what you've got inside a query, but let's just write it straight into there. No, because a query is going to be different, remember? Because we're using user match now. Okay, so write what you've got in your a query, but let's just write it out in here. So insert into test post. Exactly. Yeah. Copy and paste all of that except the last bit. Yeah, and then in there, what we, well, what can you use there? Well, it's not the whole user match. Well, let's console, maybe you can console log it first, and then you see what format it's in. I think it might be user match.rows.id or something, you know? What do you think? Well, we opened up a dot then, which is a function, so we can put it inside your function, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, this should be fine, but let's add an error handler to your dot then. So where would you put your error handler? Yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm. And then no. You just want to get an error, you want to read the error. So in your user match, in your dot then, that's when you're going to give them, okay, something to do once you've successfully queried the database. But our catch is really just for being able to read the errors. Okay, let's take the first spin. Yeah, looks fine. You have something. Okay, looking in there. Where's your username coming from? Can I see your form? Yeah, so where's the username coming from? Can you send me a snippet of your code, please? Your app.js? In your login. Res.render profile. Is that the profile we were on? Where your form is? Okay. So if you're sending the user, you can use that variable. So it's not red.body, it's just user. definitely look up.
Ja,
maar zeker.
Donderdag, ik weet niet of het dan lectures, maar 4:30 de IBM.
Mhm.
Dan weet je.
Weet het.
Even gewoon de lectures van.
Oh yeah, breakfast session about digital.
Maar recap dingen.
Ja.
Yeah, but Sasha, I really want to go home, so I think you've got the photographs of sessions, haven't you? Yeah. I know. Just know that as soon as you assign record session from user, you can use that in all of your routes again. So you don't have to send the user variable. I'll probably be home in an hour. You feel free to Slack me later. I just don't want to. Yeah, I just want to get on my